Timers box to review it. And here's the call. Good goal. Canada has the lead. Once again, Wickenheiser is the architect of a big Canadian goal.
And this line really played well against Team Finland the other night, and they're doing so here again. And don't forget, Mark, they're also playing a defensive role as well against that Kelly Stack line. So it's funny, Marie-Philippe Poulin's line's #1 the other night, and the Wickenheiser line is #1 tonight.
Natalie Spooner gets the goal. It's listed as unassisted as it came back off the pads of Vetter, but Hayley Wickenheiser did all the work on that one again. Setting up Augusta, and now the go-ahead marker by Natalie Spooner of Scarborough, Ontario, the 23-year-old in her first Olympic competition. Now Katie Stone looking for an explanation from Anna Eskola of Finland, the referee.
And she's saying the whistle blew. That's exactly what she's saying. You can see it's not covered. It's you know what? That might be Wickenheiser's goal because it actually goes.
Carpenter
goes to put it back underneath her goaltender, and it just slides right through.
Right through indeed. With draw weight across the goal line. So that should go to Hayley Wickenheiser. And rightly so. The effort she put into that one. Picard flipping it along the boards past Johnston. Poulin pinching there. Brianna Decker can't get it out. Here's Marie-Philippe Poulin going short side. And it bounces off a player in front and out of play. So Katie Stone still visibly upset, trying to get her team back in it. But it looks clearly, almost replays, that the puck was swept under the net by Annie Schlepper.
Alex Carpenter.
Or Carpenter,
yeah,
sorry.
Alex Carpenter coming back, and that's the danger of giving it back to your goalie.
The blast from Ouellette, stopped by Vetter. Right now it's Natalie Spooner officially on the scoreboard. So Vetter beaten twice here in the early going of the third period. Canada coming back down 1-0. Daou wins the draw. The blast from Rougeau is blocked up high by Duggan. She'll glove it and take it to center. Megan Duggan, the U.S. captain, deep in the Canadian zone. Fortino ahead to Daou. A nice backhand pass to Ouellette. Here's a 3-on-2 for Canada. Carolyn Ouellette going wide. It allows Duggan and the rest of the Americans.
Hi, Arthur. Testing English. Testing English.
Makes a change. Here's Wickenheiser off the bench with a wrist shot. Watchorn back along the boards.
English. And
puck scooped up by Duggan. Feeds it to Monique Lamoureux, turning back in her own zone to begin the U.S. rush. Wide on Augusta. Gains the center ice line and plays it behind the Canadian goal. Ward's pass goes off the skate of Watchorn to Augusta. Long stretch pass, too far. And this will be an icing call against Canada. So the goal has been officially changed and awarded to Hayley Wickenheiser from Natalie Spooner and Megan Augusta at 3:54 of the third period. The 18th goal in Olympic history for Canada's most decorated women's hockey player.
And Carpenter helped her on that goal. She gets a little bit lucky on it, but Wickenheiser and her line mates have been really dominant in this game on both ends of the ice.
Here's Augusta with some jump going wide on Bozek. Bozek rubs her off the puck along the boards. Carpenter chipping it in the zone. Knight out of the corner, tries to come in front. Has her legs taken out. Centering pass by Carpenter right to Decker, who just missed. Mickelson rubbing her along the boards. Marie-Philippe Poulin trying to dig it free. Here comes Kendall Coyne, the diminutive American winger. And Poulin backhands it off the glass. It's gloved at the line by Picard and brought out. No, it's not, as Johnson was checked. Now it's chopped out by Larocque. U.S. chip and chase again. Mickelson to Larocque. Off the boards to
Testing 1 2. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We'll begin the meeting in just 1 minute. If members of council could take their seat. Thank you. All right, that was the dry run. Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Bonjour, mesdames et messieurs. Bienvenue.
Good morning. Welcome to the City Council meeting.
Stand for prayer, and then we'll sing the national anthem, and I'll get Councillor Holmes to introduce you because we want to give you a really good introduction, the great students from Cambridge Public School. Almighty God, let us work together to serve all our people. Dieu Tout-Puissant, aide-nous à travailler ensemble afin de bien servir nos citoyens. I'd now ask Councillor Holmes to introduce these wonderful guests we have from Cambridge Public School.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Good morning to everyone, the Mayor, members of Council, parents and guests who are with us today. And we're also joined by Jennifer McKenzie, Chair of the School Board, as well as the member for Somerset Ward area. I'm pleased to introduce this morning a group of kindergarten and grade 3 children from Cambridge Street School who will be singing and signing our national anthem for us today. These students have been practicing for this performance from late last year when we almost made it, but the snowstorm prevented that. They were originally scheduled to come and sing in December. So their teacher is here today, Ms. Hannah Dragan, and they will be accompanied today on guitar and saxophone by Alison Wood and Lisa Scabaloni. And Mary Young, who is a volunteer and head of the school council, is with us today as well. So please join me in welcoming the students from Cambridge Street School.
Our home and made to glad.
That was beautiful, and I think it was the first time, certainly in this council, that I've seen O Canada sung and done with sign language. So that took a lot of practice, and you should be very, very proud. I want to thank also the students. They gave me this beautiful picture of many different stuffed toys and animals that they built themselves and constructed themselves over the last, I think, 2 years. And they have a beautiful picture. So this is going to hang in my office. And thank you very, very much for being here. I think they deserve a big round of applause. Congratulations. Well, thank you again to the students from Cambridge. Merci beaucoup aux...
Thank you very much to the students of Cambridge School.
To present this meeting's Mayor City Builder Award, and I'd ask Wendy Daniels if she would come forward to the center, along with her Councillor Doug Thompson. And welcome, Wendy, and thank you. I know you have some family and friends here with you as well. And here comes Councillor Thompson. Thanks, Doug. Many of you may know Ms. Daniels from her work in the media as host on CFRA and for many years on 106.9 FM The Bear, and most recently with Boom FM. Several decades of work in the media has made Ms. Daniels well known in Ottawa, and she continuously uses that presence to give back to her community, both locally and citywide. A few notable examples: former board member of the Ottawa Humane Society, media spokesperson for the Hopeful Hearts Dog Rescue, raising money for CHEO through the CHEO Dream Home broadcast and CTV CHEO Telethon, co-hosting the annual Dickinson Days Parade in Manotick. Ms. Daniels has also been a strong advocate for Canada's Armed Forces as a co-host of the annual Army Run and a variety of Red Friday events for military families in Ottawa. Madame Daniels s'est fait également le...
Ms. Daniels has also been a strong advocate for Canada's Armed Forces as a co-host of the annual Army Run and a variety of Red Friday events for military families in Ottawa.
Whether it's our city's animals, our city's sick children, our city's veterans, Ms. Daniels is there time and time again to give of her time and her profile to advocating for some important causes in our community. Her profile provides exposure, but she is also known to be hands-on, who will go the extra mile for a cause that she believes in. There's a reason why these organizations ask her to lend a hand each and every year, and it isn't just because she never says no when asked to help. C'est pour cette raison-là.
There is a reason why these organizations ask her to lend a hand every year, and it isn't just because she never says no when asked to help.
And Ms. Daniels, a great help to these causes and a champion of not only our city, but also many causes of philanthropy. She's a great example of using your position in life to help others when possible, and for that we are truly grateful. Wendy, thank you for all of the work that you have done and continue to do for the City of Ottawa, and I'm honored on behalf of your Councillor Doug Thompson to present you with this week's Mayor's City Builder Awards. Come on out here, we'll get a picture right in the middle.
Well, this is a surprise and an honor, and I can think of 100 people who probably deserve this more than I do. But seeing as I'm here, I guess being on the radio offers an opportunity most people don't have, and it's never lost on me. On a daily basis when I go to work, I realize my microphone is my biggest tool in the war chest, and I try to use that microphone for good and not evil. I often joke about that. But if you can shine a light on a community event or a community person, or even if it's a lost dog, you wouldn't believe how many dogs have reunited with owners just with the power of a microphone and a radio signal. So it's been a real honor living in Ottawa and watching Ottawa grow, and I really admire everybody who is here in council chambers. And thanks so much to Doug Thompson for a wonderful career. You guys really are leaving a lasting legacy. Your work on the Ottawa River is appreciated by all of us residents, but also everybody who lives in that river. So thank you so much for going to bat and working so hard to see that project through. I know it's a big one. And the Blanding Turtles, thank you too. And that's not lost on us either. So thank you so much for working hard. And it's an honor to be here today. Thank you.
Madam Deputy Clerk, the roll call, please.
Conseiller Manette.
Present.
Councillor Blois.
Here.
Councillor Harder.
Here.
Councillor Wilkinson.
Present.
Councillor El-Shantiri.
Present.
Councillor Caudry.
Present.
Councillor Taylor.
Here.
Councillor Shirelli.
Here.
Councillor Eglai.
Here.
Councillor Deans.
Here.
Councillor Tierney.
Present.
Conseiller Fleury.
Ici.
Councillor Clark.
Here.
Councillor Holmes.
Here.
Councillor Hobbs.
Here.
Councillor McCrae.
Here.
Councillor Chernyshenko.
Present.
Councillor Hume.
Here.
Conseiller Blais.
Present.
Councillor Thompson. Councillor Moffat.
Here.
Conseiller DeRoche.
Here.
Councillor Hubley.
Here.
Mayor Watson.
Here.
Le quorum est 10, Monsieur le Maire.
Merci.
You have the quorum?
Available confirmation of minutes of the meeting of 22nd of January 2014. Carried. Declarations of interest, including those originally rising from prior meetings. Déclaration de conflit d'intérêt. Councillor Fleury, please.
Merci, Monsieur le Maire. Je déclare un conflit.
I declare a conflict of interest related to Economic Development Report 48, a grant application for the development work done by Claridge Homes, Dalhousie Street, from 21 and 325 Dalhousie, because my father is an employee of Claridge Homes, and Claridge Homes is doing the work. Any other conflicts of interest?
Communications is received. Regrets? No regrets filed to date. Motion portant présentation de rapport. Motion to introduce reports. Councillor Hubley and Moffat, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. That Ottawa Police Services Board Report 12, Agricultural and Rural Affairs Committee Report 38, Finance and Economic Development Committee Report 40, Planning Committee Reports 64 and 65, along with Transportation Committee Report 35, be received and considered.
Carried. Thank you, Councillor Hubley. Reports. Ottawa Police Services Board Report number 12. This is Police Service Board Activity, Training and Performance 2013 Annual Report, Rapport annuel sur les activités et la formation. Received. Received. Thank you, Councillor El-Shantiri. Committee reports. Agriculture and Rural Affairs Committee Report number 38, rapport numéro 38 du Comité de l'Agriculture et des Affaires Rurales. Item number 2, zoning, 4347 Second Line Road, future Gordon Murdoch Road. Carried. Planning Committee Report number 64, revision to zoning bylaw 2008-250 to amend permitted residential driveway widths in outer suburban communities and to clarify zoning language. Councillor Harder has a deferral motion. Okay, Councillor Harder.
Thank you. I can't find my copy, and I know I have.
Well, we'll come back to
No, it's okay.
It's on the screen.
But all I'm at, okay. As you know, there was a report coming from the Planning Committee. There was some kind of, I think, unfortunate connection at another committee, and so therefore, I'm suggesting that we have staff bring forward more information on this issue from both the Public Works and the Planning and Growth Management staff, who actually have been working on the clarification. So, to give Council more information so that they understand that the impact of the proposed zoning on the future snow operations before consideration of the item.
I think Councillor Blois wishes to speak to this, so if there's if you'd like to speak on deferral, we'll just go through the rest of the agenda and then come back to this item. Unless it's,
I was going to speak. I would have held this, Mr. Mayor, but I would speak on deferral and then let it go through.
Yeah.
On deferral, I would think there are some other issues such as stormwater runoff that, as staff come back and talk about various things such as snow costs, snow storage, stormwater runoff is an important issue because we're losing basically ground space that would absorb water. So I would hope that would be in the report as well. Thank you.
If there are no other items on this, is it the will of Council to defer it, and it'll come back, I believe, in 2 weeks? Carried? Okay, carried. Thank you, Councillor Harder, and that was seconded by Councillor Caudry. Thank you. The next item is zoning 99 Greenfield Avenue, zonage 99 Avenue Green.
Zoning 99 Greenfield Avenue.
Councillor Chernachenko would like that held. Planning Committee Report number 65, zoning 2101, 3101 Innovation Drive. And I believe, is there any desire to hold that or carried? Carried. Transportation Committee Report number 35, designation of Brian Coburn Boulevard as a controlled access road. Carried. Does anyone wish anything to be removed from the bulk consent agenda? Councillor Fleury has a declaration of interest on item 0, so he'll remove himself from the table. Does anyone wish to remove anything from bulk consent agenda? Okay, on the bulk consent agenda as presented. Carried. All right. So we're back to zoning 99 Greenfield Avenue. Councillor Chernachenko would ask that this be held. The floor is yours, Councillor.
As members of Planning Committee and others who were present a couple of weeks ago for this discussion would know, there was quite significant community concern about this project. And not the usual, it's too tall, it's outrageously too tall, but really the objection was sort of 1,000 cuts, if you will, if that's the right metaphor. There are so many exceptions, so many variances that this project is asking for. The number was about 17. And I know a big deal was made at that meeting about a couple of them, being seemingly trivial. But the fact was, there was a good 12 or 14 of those that on any project we would have concerns about. And when you've got 12 or 14 of them, and yet staff are in support of the project, and the project goes through, I'm left to wonder, what does it take to actually find a project to not be in keeping with the type of intensification we want? I know we've heard the tired refrain, I'm not against intensification, but, and yet this is another example of, the neighbors were perfectly prepared to see a dense project go into this site, but on every part of the envelope, wider, slightly taller, assuming that the entire lot can be filled by this project, and even having the drawings for the project showing landscaping on somebody else's property. So counting on the fact that the neighbors of this project would provide the green space and the light in, but that this development could take everything that might be available to it. I'm deeply concerned that when we don't reject a project like this, that on its height, on any one count alone, isn't outrageous, but that is asking for so many exceptions, I'm left wondering what we are ever going to say no to in a case like this. And my great concern is that the precedent we continue to set is ask for the world and you'll get it. Or you'll get it with a few little changes added. Interestingly, the developer did meet over virtually my entire term with the community. We had meetings. We had mostly congenial meetings, but not much actually changed in the end. And so what came forward finally to Planning Committee was a slightly modified version of what had originally gone forward, but was still taking up virtually the whole lot and asking for all of these variances. So this is something I will ask Council to overturn and vote against, because I believe it continues to set the tone that an infill development, because it is infill, because it's in a challenging site, should necessarily get whatever is asked for. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Chernachenko. There are other speakers on this item? Est-ce qu'il y a des autres personnes?
Any other speakers?
Motion is presented. Carried. Dissent by Councillor Deans, Eglai, Shirelli, Caudry, Wilkinson, and Chernachenko. And Holm. All right, we're going to do yeas and nays. All right, Councillor Hume on the item, and then we'll do yeas and nays.
Mr. Mayor, before we latch on to this as the cause celeb of bad development, which seems to be the way we're...
Sorry, Councillor Hume has the floor.
We're going. Planning Committee has seen this proposal twice. And yes, there were a number of variances that were requested from the envelope that was provided. But we heard very clearly at Planning Committee that the reasons were that they made the development better, that they pulled things like balconies away from amenity spaces. Sure, I can build that, but if I build that, my balcony will be over your amenity space. So I need some variance to move it, to customize the development for the site. And in fact, when you see if you go to, I don't know if we have the renderings, but if you go to the envelope that was provided by the zoning, in almost all respects, it's very, very close to what is being consumed by this development. But they felt very clearly that if they made some adjustments, that they would get a better development. And now remember, this is a 4-story apartment building that the neighbors don't want. Clearly, they don't want the apartment building. In fact, the argument that was put forward was it would be better if it was townhouses. So we're arguing now for 4-story apartment building, and now we're talking about the better townhouse, would better be townhouses. And I think that was John Dance of the Ottawa East Community Association said, look, townhouses would be better. So, this is not, as it's being portrayed, the poster child for bad urban development. And quite frankly, it's what you're going to expect to see happen when you get these very difficult and very tight sites throughout the city. The zoning that's on the site, yes, in volumetric basis, allows a certain amount of development, but you're going to want to shape that development. And I think that that's an appropriate way to go. Now, the irony in all of this is that this proponent could have gone to the Committee of Adjustment for all of these minor tweaks and adjustments. But no, he chose the more comprehensive process directed by our staff, saying, no, really, take this through the rezoning process to make those adjustments and to shape those buildings. Mr. Mayor, I understand the position of the ward councillor. I quite frankly think that if this 4-story building was within all of the zoning that exists on the site without any shaping, without any changing, you would still hear the ward councillor being opposed. You would still hear the King's Landing community saying, we are opposed. It's clear that they are opposed, and it's only some of them, you're right. It's only some of them. We had delegations coming forward saying, we like this development, we want to see it go forward. So before we rush and say that we should reject these minor changes to this development, I think we have to understand the context in which those changes were being proposed. You know, and even if you look at the zoning and the exceptions, there's some of them, but some of them are really quite minor. 3.45 meters for the driveway, and they're changing that to 305. The aisle width to bicycle parking is a meter. Now, is that really, are we really opposed to that? You know, permit the maximum parking space width to be 5.1 meters. Permit the maximum of 50% of the parking space be a minimum of 2.4 meters. That's what a lot of these changes are about. Funny enough, one of the changes that isn't here is an increase to the height provisions that exist on the site. Yes, lot area and lot width, front yard setback, corner side yard, interior side yard shaping, but not the height. What people are opposed to, of course, is now people are using roofs as amenity spaces. I mean, I think that's the modern movement, and if we want to change that, we should change it for everywhere. But I'm not sure that we should penalize this proponent for doing what's pretty much common in new development these days. Anyway, my time is up, Mr. Mayor, and I'll say that I really think that Planning Committee has considered this, has given you their opinion. This is good development, and it should be approved.
All right, thank you. Okay, so yeas and nays on the committee recommendation as presented for 99 Greenfield.
Councillor Blais?
Oui.
Conseiller Fleury?
Oui.
Councillor Hume?
Yes.
Councillor Taylor?
No.
Councillor Clark?
Yes.
Councillor Hubley?
Yes.
Councillor Deans?
No.
Councillor DeRoche?
Oui.
Councillor Blois?
Yes.
Councillor Hobbs?
Yes.
Councillor Wilkinson?
No.
Councillor Moffat?
Yes.
Councillor Elshantiri? Councillor Eglai?
No.
Councillor McCrae?
Yes.
Councillor Harder? Yes. Councillor Tierney?
Yes.
Councillor Shirelli?
No.
Councillor Chernyshenko?
No.
Councillor Caudry?
No.
Councillor Holmes?
No.
Simonette?
Oui.
Councillor Thompson?
Yes.
Mayor Watson?
Yes.
16 yeas, 8 nays.
Okay, that's carried. Disposition of items approved by committee under delegated authority suite à donner des articles ratifiés par les comités en vertu de pouvoirs délégués. Carried. Motion to adopt reports. Motion portant adoption de rapport. Councillor Hubley and Moffat, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. That the Ottawa Police Services Board Report number 12, the Agricultural and Rural Affairs Committee Report number 38, the Finance and Economic Development Committee Report number 40, the Planning Committee Reports number 64 and number 65, and the Transportation Committee Report number 35 be received and adopted as amended.
Carried. Adopté. Motions requiring suspension of the rules of procedure. Motion exigeant la suspension des règles de procédure. Councillor Hume and Harder have a technical motion with respect to the Scott Street CDP. On suspension of the rules. Carried. Councillor Hume, if you'd like to introduce it, please.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I'm just looking for the motion here.
Get your mic on.
Trying. Sorry, Mr. Mayor. I'm trying to find the, I've got the motion. It's the rationale that we're looking for, and I don't have it in front of me, but so I'm going to go from memory. What we did at our last council meeting is we brought forward a number of amendments with respect to the Scott Street Community Design Plan. And when we did that, we inadvertently provided an incorrect Schedule B for the maximum building heights across the CDP. So what we need to do is we need to correct that, repeal the building heights we put in place, and replace them with the amendments listed as items Y and Z on the council agenda today. And it relates to a property on Sterling Street, and maybe Ms. Snedden, if she's here, can provide me with a nice summary. Okay, here we go. I'm right. It mistakenly, the building height Schedule B mistakenly removed the tower symbol on the property located at 12 Sterling Avenue. So the property at 12 Sterling wasn't part of any of the submissions that was provided to council. And when we brought forward the original report, we had said, yes, that's going to be where there is going to be a tower symbol. And then when we put forward the omnibus motion, we took it away, so inadvertently. So we need to go back to the original recommendation, which included that tower symbol. There was no controversy surrounding this. No one suggested that we should take it away or put it on. In fact, 12 Sterling wasn't part of the discussions that we had surrounding this development. Everyone understands and expects that there will be a tower symbol on the property located at 12 Sterling Avenue. Unfortunately, when they go to the record, they're going to find out that one doesn't exist because we inadvertently left it off. So we have to put it back. And that's what this motion does.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments or questions? No. Okay, so on the motion by Councillor Hume, seconded by Councillor Harder with respect to Scott Street Official Plan Amendment and Zoning Bylaw Amendment, carried. Thank you. The next item that requires suspension of the rules is by a motion by Councillor Moffat, seconded by Councillor Taylor, with respect to Pineview Municipal Golf Course, and this is a time-sensitive matter. On the waiving of the rules of procedure, carried. Councillor Moffat, please.
Thank you. I won't bore you with all the details of the full motion, but just to give you an update on why we're here today. As you know, we've looked at this in the past couple of years. I mean, I've been chairing the golf course for over a year and a half, and it became evident that we weren't able to turn a profit consistently. Oddly enough, this year we're only at a $20,000 deficit, but we haven't invested anything into the golf course at all. So the last few years we've racked up a debt of about $500,000. This motion speaks to the fact that there is an outstanding debt of $1.5 million. That's over the term of the lease that we've had with the NCC over the last 40 years. Working with the NCC over the last few months, we went and we did a request for proposals that the city and the NCC worked together on. We did yield a successful proponent that came out of that. the decision has been made to go ahead with that successful proponent and to terminate our lease. So we're here today to approve that and to move forward, where the city would no longer be in the business of running a golf course, and that would be handed over to a private operator who does still have the commitment to operate the course as it is operated today, in terms of offering an affordable golf option to the residents of Ottawa. So I'll just read the last part, which just says, therefore be it resolved, in order to conclude a resolution with the National Capital Commission, City Council approved the letter of mutual termination and the lease termination agreement dated February 28, 2014, to be executed by the City Manager, and approve the write-off of the outstanding balance of $1,474,267 for the city advances to Pineview to be funded through citywide reserves. It's important to note that while it is $1.5 million, the golf course is in substantial need of improvement. There's a current inability to make money there, and it's missing some key components. One of the components is it's missing a driving range and a practice facility. It really can't be competitive in the business without those elements. It would cost probably between $800,000 and $1 million to actually make that improvement. I don't see this council as being willing to make that investment in a golf course to make money. So the reality is, over the next 10 years, this golf course would likely continue to lose money, and we would be seeing ourselves in further debt than we are today. So really, this is an opportunity to avoid the future debt and to put the golf course in better hands that are more equipped to provide the service that the golfers expect of it, and the staff at Pineview as well, who have been quite great in terms of what they've provided. The golf course is in great condition. Maybe not today, but it is in great condition because of the staff that's there. So I just want to thank the board members for their support on this, and council as well for allowing us to get to this point.
Anyone else wish to speak? Maybe I'll just offer a comment, because this is deja vu for me. Councillor Blois will remember fondly, in the old city of Ottawa, we actually sold our share of the golf course to Gloucester, and then about a year later amalgamation took place, so it was back with the city of Ottawa. So we find ourselves in a situation where we have a facility which I think most people would agree is not part of our core basic services that we should be providing. And you recall back a little while ago, we had the situation where we were in the equestrian business as well. And there were some people who came forward and said, you know, please continue to be in that business, despite the fact there were dozens of other private operators that were running horse farms and equestrian operations and riding lessons and so on. And we made the right decision then, and in fact, Terry Matthews' company has actually won the RFP to run that facility and will be investing significant amounts of money to upgrade the facility. I believe the same will be true of this particular private sector operator, who will have the necessary skill, expertise, and resources to go and invest in upgrades to the facility that I don't think we want to see our tax dollars go into. We know, for instance, that there'd be at least another $1 million required. Councillor Moffat talked about the driving range and the practice putting green and so on, but there are other aspects of the course that do need some dollars as well. And I was told, I believe it was by Councillor Moffat, that we in Ottawa have more golf courses on a per capita basis than any city in Ontario. So there are plenty of opportunities for people to go golfing, and I don't believe it's a good use of our tax dollars to subsidize a golf course when other options are available. So we support the NCC turning this over to the private sector. We think it's a good decision. We paid, as you know, for half the cost of the RFP to get this process off and running, and I thank the NCC for that. I also want to thank Councillor Moffat, as well as members of the board who are members of council, as well as private citizens, for their efforts in this particular endeavor. So what we're doing is we're ensuring that we're not going to continue to see annual losses for the taxpayers, and we're going to have the private sector run this particular course, and we wish them the very best. Councillor Blois, I knew you would want to respond because that's the kind of person you are.
It comes with the Olympic jacket, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, thank you for your comments, and I want to echo some of those comments, but I do want to start with, it's quite an accomplishment for someone to sell the same piece of property twice. I'm sure there's some rules somewhere that are against that, but just to clarify, and I think it's basically what you were saying, I've been dealing with inquiries, and there seemed to be a misconception that somehow the city was selling this land. And, of course, I've been replying to everybody saying, we're not selling the land, it's the same ownership, i.e. the NCC. It's a change in how it's run, a change in management. And I do want to compliment Councillor Moffat for stick handling and shepherding this through, because it is a difficult file. And he's kept it well under wraps to making sure that none of us board members were in the loop. No, that's not true. We were in the loop. We just didn't have the details, which was the right way to do it. And I do think in terms of a golf operation moving forward, it is better off in the hands of someone who's willing to invest money. And looking around this table, it's very clear, and we've said this repeatedly at the board, the will isn't around this table to invest money in a golf course. And this is the proper way to go forward, and if you can sell it again and again and again and get money for the city, I'll compliment you on that. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor. So on the motion presented by Councillor Moffat, carried, seconded by Councillor Taylor, thank you. Are there any other motions requiring suspension of the rules of procedure? Notices of motion for consideration at subsequent meeting. Councillor Deans, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My motion, well, basically, I'll just dispense with the whereases for now, unless you want me to read them and go to the therefore be it resolved that Ottawa City Council declare March 8th, 2014 to be International Women's Day in the City of Ottawa. That's a notice of motion.
Okay, thank you. Next notice of motion, Councillor Blais, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor DeRush. Whereas children are society's most vulnerable and their safety and security is paramount, whereas motorists' legal requirement to halt behind a stopped school bus is a traffic regulation that helps save the lives of children, whereas any motorist that overtakes a stopped school bus commits an egregious violation with potentially fatal consequences, and whereas cameras on stop arms of school buses are an excellent traffic enforcement mechanism for catching motorists that illegally overtake halted school buses, and whereas cameras are in place in other jurisdictions in Canada and the United States, therefore be it resolved that City Council urge the Minister of Transportation to amend the Ontario Highway Traffic Act to permit the use of school bus stop arm cameras for the purpose of identifying and convicting motorists that pass stop school buses without the need for further testimony in court.
Okay, so we'll deal with that at the next meeting. Are there any other notices of motion for consideration at subsequent meeting? No. Motion to introduce bylaws. Motion portant présentation de règlement. Councillor Hubly, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. That the bylaws listed on the agenda under motion to introduce bylaws, 3 readings, be read and passed with exception of the bylaw listed as X, a bylaw of the City of Ottawa to amend bylaw number 2008-250 of the City of Ottawa to change the zoning of residential driveway widths in the outer suburban communities. Thank you.
On the motion, carried. Confirmation bylaw, Councillor Hubly, please. Seconded by Councillor Moffat.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. That the following bylaw be read and passed to confirm the proceedings of the council meeting of the 12th of February 2014.
Carried. Inquiries. I have a written inquiry from Councillor Blais, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. What would be the cost to maintain all city sidewalks to Class 1 or 2A maintenance standards? And how does the City of Ottawa winter sidewalk maintenance standards compare with those of major Canadian cities such as Toronto, Calgary, and Vancouver?
Okay, so that will go to Mr. Kanellakis. Are there other inquiries, written inquiries, Deputy Clerk? No. Just to let you know, if you weren't already aware, Canada just won another silver medal in men's long track speed skating. Denny Morrison and the women's hockey team defeated the U.S. 3-2. So we're on a roll. Adjournment. Councillor Hubley, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. That the proceedings of the City Council meeting of the 12th of February 2014 be adjourned.
Carried. Adopté. Merci beaucoup. Meeting adjourned. Thank you.